Hi, welcome to Shelf Starters. Today we're back talking about the Talking Animals section of the Norton Anthology. And actually, before we started, I wanted to talk about the actual edition that we're working from, because we got a comment saying, could you mention the actual edition and the pages in case there's people following along?
Good
so
idea.
it is the 10th edition of the Norton Anthology, and this is volume A, Middle Ages. And we are reading from page 495. The Talking Animals section.
Yes.
So this included 3 different authors, poets.
Yeah.
Marie de France, who we've met before in earlier Norton. And then Chaucer, also met before.
Yes.
And then the new one is Robert Henryson, who is a Scots poet, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is actually.
So we get a bit of variety.
Yes.
And I think it sounded like we both liked Marie de France the best, right?
I think so, yes. I kind of think maybe it's because she is a female writer, and I seem to enjoy this more. I like that perspective. It's because it sort of seems fresh in amongst what we're reading. But I have to say, I did like the Chaucer way more than I expected. I enjoyed the setting, the description of setting. I thought it was really quite beautiful and poetic in parts, which I wasn't at all.
No, well, yeah. So the poems that we're looking at are Bisclavret, that's the Marie de France one about the werewolf.
Yes, which is a pretty
interesting one is Fowls.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the Henryson one, we have 2 of his fables.
Yeah. Yes. I don't enjoy the fables as much, to be honest.
Yeah. You didn't think you would, though. Like,
no,
we've known that.
Never.
Yeah.
Even when you were little, Rosie, and I was reading them too, I didn't really
like them. They're okay.
I did like them for a sec.
But the werewolf one I really did like, because how weird is it to read a werewolf story in Middle Ages? Like,
it's actually really really it's really
pretty appropriate for this time of year as well. Like quite well timed.
Yeah. We designed that, Rosie. We planned
planned to be Halloween when we read the werewolf one. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. So the story is that there's a man and a woman who are both nobles, and the man is a werewolf, and he disappears every week for 3 days, and the wife gets a little bit pissed off about that, wonders where he is.
Did you go with a modern concept, like a modern way of thinking when you first read that? It's like, oh, obviously
he's obviously having a
and you go,
but no, that's why she's annoyed. Like, obviously, she would be annoyed.
Yeah.
But then it turns so quickly, because you go from being on her side to being like, wow, she's awful. So
she was very mean, wasn't she?
It was terrible.
Yeah.
So he admits, I am a werewolf actually, and what happens is I go and I turn into a wolf, and I leave my clothes.
I leave my clothes in the spot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she steals his clothes, so he can't change back. He's stuck in his wolf form.
Yeah.
And then she goes off and marries this knight, or she arranged for the clothes to be stolen by the knight, and then she marries that knight.
Yes.
And he, poor werewolf guy, just has to stay in his wolf form for ages. And it's not until
such an act of betrayal, like huge.
Yeah.
He tells her the most important secret ever, confides in her, and she goes, yep, good, with that information.
Screw you over, and then we'll have married.
Yeah, pretty brutal.
Yeah. But the king seems really cool in this story. Like, what a nice man.
Yes.
He turns up and he comes across the wolf.
Yes.
And instead of killing him, he sort of like pardons the wolf, I guess, because the wolf does this like bowing and kissing the king's foot and stuff like that to seem a little bit nicer than a regular wolf, I guess. And so the king thinks, hey, that's a bit weird, let's take that wolf back with us. And they keep the wolf with them, just being all gentle and nice. And then
the next bit,
then the knight comes in with the woman, and he recognizes them. Obviously the wolf recognizes them and attacks the knight and goes crazy. And so they realize, hey, that somehow they put together, I mean, I'm not sure I would have put this together.
No.
In a real life situation. Somehow they put together, oh, that wolf must not be a wolf, it must be that guy. who disappeared, and he's angry. He's angry because this is the lover that his wife ran off with.
Yeah. I
So
know. It's a
they
long
find his
shot.
clothes again.
We've got to suspend a bit of disbelief at that point, sure.
But the best part of the whole thing,
The nose.
the nose. He tears his wife's nose off.
I
He
love
tore
it.
her nose off then and there. And then the best part at the end is that
They all
all the
know.
children that she had after, I think quite a few children had this dame who in their way achieved some fame for looks for a distinctive face. Numbers of women of her race, it's true, were born without a nose.
Yeah, because if you do this to someone, if you remove their features, then of course that's passed down to the next generation. It's actually, I do remember a little girl once telling me how she'd been to the orthodontist and had all this work to fix her teeth, and that now it was like, being passed along down the family. And it's like that notion. It's pretty cute. Like what you see is what you give, what you give.
I mean, I was like, year 7 science. Disproving that one quite a little bit.
They obviously didn't have that in medieval times, Rosie.
Like, clearly not. Yeah, clearly not.
So that was the best bit, though. That was like, you need to laugh out loud when you read that.
It was, I did laugh out loud. Yeah, really, really funny. Chaucer, less funny, but more beautiful, lyrical.
Honestly, some really beautiful parts of this. So do we want to just do a bit of a explanation of what it is?
Yeah, so a guy falls asleep. Once again, we have the dream sequence.
Yeah, it's the dream sequence, yes. So used by Coleridge also. So a guy falls asleep, and then in his dream, he goes to a beautiful
garden.
Yeah, a little journey through a beautiful garden, which is the part I love, the garden description. And what does he find, Rosie?
Comes across nature personified,
yes.
Who is convening some sort of like council thing, because there are 3 eagles who want to, 3 male eagles who want to marry the female eagle, and they're trying to work out who deserves to have her.
Yes. So they're having,
and there's all the birds are there as well.
All the birds are there, and they have a big conversation.
Yeah.
Which is
and I liked that you got the list of all the different birds and all the different things that symbolize all of that. That was quite, very fitting with what we've seen. We've just seen a lot of birds lately in the Middle Ages. I feel like that has been the key theme that's come across in a lot of what we've read.
And they even mentioned the nasty old magpie that we don't like in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Mean magpie.
They're nice here in the UK. They're very different magpies.
Yeah, they're not like man-eating ones like we have.
No, it's not the same. They're actually really pretty. They've got like a little blue bit. Anyway, nothing like the Australian ones. The one I underlined as well actually is the starling, because it says that can betray secrets. And I'm reading this. Well, I read this fantasy series. I'll never shut up about this series that I can't stop reading. I'm reading it on a loop. Like I can just keep reading it. The Realm of the Elderlings, and there's a character called Starling in that. And she is a minstrel. So her whole like personality is telling people's stories and stuff. And that was pretty cool to discover that that's actually like a symbolism. Yeah.
No, my favorite. Did you have little favorite sections? I did, like that you highlighted.
Not really, actually, for this one.
Oh, see, I did the garden. I like the garden.
The garden description,
full of blossomy boughs upon a river and a green mead. There is sweetness evermore ye now is, with flowers white, blue, yellow, and red, and cold well streams nothing did, that swollen full of smale fishes light, with fins red and scales silver bright. Which my English teacher would have read nothing like that. She would have gone, fin is red and scales silver red.
This one has the original like Old English wording and stuff, hasn't been translated or anything. So I think this got modern spelling, but that's it.
Right.
So you kind of have to read it aloud to hear
it.
You
do have to read it aloud to understand, and to understand understand the rhyme. But I thought that was really beautiful. I loved all that.
Yeah.
And same with the gold, the golden, her gilten hair and golden thread, that part when describing nature. Oh no, Venus, sorry, not nature.
It's confusing because there's so many different bits of personification and things like that.
All things are personified, like absolutely everything. Yeah. But then the key thing is Valentine's Day. So this is the beginning of
right, it's all set on Valentine's Day. It's all about choosing your mate. And I liked that we get to the point of it being like that true love is like a natural thing.
Yes. I know
and it can cross the class boundaries of birth.
Yeah.
So it's not, the boundaries are not natural in themselves. It's all about just connection.
Yes.
I know. It's quite forward, Chaucer.
I know. Well, obviously he was really forward thinking when you go back over all of it.
Canterbury Tales.
Yeah, totally. But yes, I actually could not believe that I liked this quite so much.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I obviously prefer the Canterbury Tales, but yeah. For comparing, I guess we've read quite a few where it's like the same kind of thing. There's a dream sequence, there's a garden, there's people personifying. Like I've read a lot of those different things now. I think this is one of the best, probably.
Yes, I think so.
At least in terms of imagery. Yeah.
Totally. But it really did remind me of Coleridge and Kubla Khan.
Yeah, it's the really
richness, that imagery.
Sensual imagery about garden stuff.
Absolutely.
It's very springtime. That one maybe is not so appropriate for autumn.
No, it's not in your autumn reads. No. And then I got to Henryson.
And I read a lot more of Henryson. So I got the Seamus Heaney translation collection.
Oh.
Which Seamus Heaney is the one who translates the selections in the Norton. Because Henryson is a Scots poet, so it's written the original, which I also have a selection in the original, which is just really hard to read. I think again, if you read it like aloud, you kind of get most of the words, but it's like pretty tough. So I was glad that we have the translation, the Hindi translation, and this one he's really well known for retelling Aesop's fables. So that is the selection that we get in the anthology, and that's like the big thing that Henryson's known for. But he also is really well known for the Testament of Cressid, which is a sequel to Troilus and Cressida. And it was actually apparently in the time published at the end of Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida. There would be a little end section which had Henryson's next bit. Isn't that cool? So they combined the two works in one.
Super cool. Yeah.
And he also did a retelling of Orpheus and Eurydice as well. So he had a few like other famous bits, but he's really well known for the fables. So here we have the Preaching of the Swallow, and the other one was the Cock and the Jasper.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're the ones you're not really that keen on.
Not so much. No.
I mean, the Preaching of the Swallow, I think the thing is, so all of them have their little story about the various animals, and then they have this moralitas bit where it explains.
But see, that's the bit I don't like.
Yeah, it really like lays it out for every single part of the story, like explained what it means. And that, I get it. That could be frustrating.
Yeah,
I think
it's not, just doesn't work for me. I mean, even the mere title, The Preaching of the Swallow, the whole preaching thing, it doesn't.
It's basically the Preaching of the Swallow. The whole moral for that one is just basically you can try to teach average people stuff, but they're not going to listen. No. So don't bother.
Just average. Yeah, I know.
Like don't bother with the poor folk down low. They're never going to learn. So it's a bit brutal. I feel like a lot of the fables actually just don't really stand up very well today.
No, they don't. I think that's right. They don't. Because they're always about hierarchy, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit. Like even the Cock and the Jasper one, which is about a bird finding a gemstone and then deciding whether or not to take it. Like I didn't really get that the moral was he should have taken it. Like I feel like in this day and age,
it would be exact opposite to what you'd think. Yeah.
Like it's not really what I would have expected. So yeah, there are a few like that, and even in because both of these have different choices of the fables that he did, like different selections. There were a lot that I was just like, oh, I'm not actually sure that really stands up today, or it seems like a bit of a weird take on things. But I did like Heaney's translations of, like, I did like the language and stuff. Yeah. For both of the ones in the anthology. It just
Heaney, we know.
Story wasn't.
We've read Heaney before in his translation before, and he's beautiful.
Yeah, we know it's good. Yeah. So I don't know. And also so much reference to Aesop directly in the fables. Like he just constantly mentions Aesop. Again, it's kind of like who was it who was talking about Ovid the whole time?
Oh,
Not Chaucer, Chaucer's mate, Gower.
Gower, yes.
Gower, where you're like, but then do I just read that instead?
Yes. I will keep banging on about this other person's work. Yeah.
So I kind of got that a little bit with the fables. But anyway, I'm glad to read. Do you have anything else to add about the fables? Because I'm not really sure I have much to say.
I don't have much to say, really. I mean, they're self-explanatory.
Glad I read them.
That's the whole point, isn't it? They're simple. Yeah. They're very simple.
I think it was good that that we get a selection from a Scots writer, and
So do I.
I think he is interesting as a person because he was a schoolmaster, and so he would have been part of that like time where you teach Latin, and often Aesop was used as like a way of teaching Latin, like these little fables to translate things like that. So I can kind of see that is interesting for the time period. It's different, kind of a different perspective having a teacher included, but there's not really much to add, I don't think, about him. So cool. Well, okay, let us know if you have read any of those three poets and what your favorite one is.
I'm sure plenty of people will have read Parliament of Fowls, definitely.
Yeah, and I think Bisclavret as well. I think that's quite a popular one from readathons. So I think so.
But I'm not so sure about Henryson.
Yeah, maybe not. Or maybe like you'll find, as I did actually, that I have definitely heard.
But you didn't know that that's what it was.
But I didn't know that's what it was, and it probably wasn't the Henryson version that I read as a child. It probably was just a retelling of Aesop. So
yes, actually, that's true. It would have been.
It's probably the original, not Henryson. So I mean, cool that we read it, but so I think next week we'll do the Middle English lyrics, which is just a little selection of random lyrics.
Like a little one,
so a bit of a short break kind of thing for us, and then week after will be Thomas Malory.
Ooh, which I really want to do that one.
I'm really excited about that one.
That will be great.
So let us know what you think. Are you planning to pick up any of these anytime soon? And thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye.